Could Izaya Orihara really be considered the villain of the story? What if I told you that he was in fact the savior for many of the characters in Durarara? Whether your personal beliefs lean towards Izaya Orihara being good or bad, it might be accurate to say that he is an excellent sample of a complex character. And I especially think this considering how many layers there are to the display of his feelings and how significant his actions truly are. While I'm convinced that many of the characters in the story found his actions childish and hard to comprehend. However, from a narrative perspective, it becomes easier to see through the act he puts on every episode or volume of the series. The author, Yogo Narita, never gives us a valid proof of the real Izaya. He never gives us a valid reason for why Izaya acts the way he does. He only scratches the surface, throws in tiny bits and pieces of what could be the man's true nature, so that most of the interpretation is left for us to do. And that might prove to be even more captivating than a character that is laid bare before us. Izaya is described as very difficult to grasp or classify, indistinct based on appearance alone. If you think about it, what do we actually know about Izaya? We know that he is a wealthy information broker who loves fatty tuna, owns a lot of cell phones, and he's a light sleeper. And he also has a passion for unusual games, hence he designed his own board game. He's a man who wants to be in control and loves to playfully tease people in order to observe their reactions for his own amusement. Izaya's characteristic claim throughout the series is that he loves humans more than anything and therefore wants to place them into a scene in which they behave out of the ordinary and exceed their limits and his expectations. He may go as far as putting himself in danger for that. Nevertheless, his love for humans appears contradictory when we see his Shirai crack, when we see how he might just be a lonely soul that is tremendously insecure and afraid of proper human interaction and bonding. Shinra Kishitani, who is one of the few people close to him, appears to be able to see through his facade. Quote, "He may seem cold-blooded, but he's more human and his heart more brittle than anybody else. So much that if you fill it with human love or betrayal, it will break easily. Which is why, I think, he chose from the start to avoid it all. To love humanity, understand? Not to accept, not to face it, to avoid it." End quote. If we can believe Shina's assumptions, Izaya is constantly lying to himself, and he is also unable to feel genuine affection towards someone else. He might have chosen to do so at some point in his life to protect himself, and cannot go back now. Izaya's personality was misunderstood from the way he was portrayed. People see him as this manipulative jerk, obsessed with humans, who torment them just for fun. Which you are right to believe because it is all true, but there's a lot more hidden behind it. To be able to elaborate his personality, I have to refer to this specific scene where we are first introduced to him and have a glimpse of his personality. I am aware that this scene and the one in the light novel were different, but they both play somehow the same and it doesn't change or affect my point in any way. To summarize it, in this scene we are shown how Izaya messes with a girl who wants to commit suicide. Izaya has the girl kidnapped by these random thugs, engages Celty to save the girl, and bring her to him on the roof of a building where they have a conversation about suicide. Somehow, the girl feels like Izaya had won the argument and jumped to spy him. However, Celty saves the girl once again and tells her that life isn't as bad as she thinks it is. In the end, the girl goes home appreciating her life more. Genuinely, Izaya played with the girl on a psychological level, but this manipulation was what helped her in the end. He made her realize that in reality she was scared and didn't truly want to die. Until this experience, she walked off a little traumatized, but completely getting over her suicidal intentions. But this girl wasn't the only one, nor the first one Izaya has helped. Take a look at the main trio, Mikado Ryugamine, Kida Masaomi and Arisa Nohara. If it weren't for Izaya's plays and influences, they would not learn each other's secrets and they would have still been doubting each other. Their friendship would simply not have lasted for so long. The headless rider, Celti. She came to accept herself without her head, embracing Shina's love. Saki and Kida met because of him. They genuinely fell in love, and even after the numerous conflicts that happened, Izaya still helped them in his own ways and they ended up together. However, they both have a completely different view on Izaya, but more on that later. Another scene which is iconic and defining for Izaya is the cell phone smashing scene in the first season of Durarara. When Aris Ohara is getting bullied, Izaya comes to the rescue and stamps on a girl's cell phone. The girl yells at her boyfriend to beat Izaya up, and the guy falls horribly and gets most of his hair cut off. This scene showed that he liked messing with people and he was incredibly good with a knife. Most of us found this scene actually funny because of how he was played. Izaya didn't seem like he had actually hurt the girl that much. In fact, the girl didn't quite look scared. She seemed rather shocked by her now bald boyfriend. However, this scene happened a little different in the light novel. Instead of standing there and watching him crush the phone, she tries to grab it and almost gets her finger smashed. There is no boyfriend there to help her, so she and her friends run in terror. Izaya was more brutal in the light novel. He definitely went overboard trying to see how the girl would react to him beating up something she cares about. He was teaching her that it doesn't feel good to be bullied. And if you think about it, Izaya had fairly normal morals. It doesn't seem like it, but disliking bullying is actually a common thing, and beating up the bullies is used a lot as a form of justice. He was a little harsh, but in the end it wasn't much worse than physically hitting them. Izaya is not exactly a hero of justice, but he isn't really a villain either. Indeed, Izaya is egocentric and doesn't do anything without ulterior motives. But he really does love humans. Without his desire to see people's reaction in various situations and his manipulations to provoke them, almost nothing in the entire series would have been possible. He is blunt and cunning. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. He could have lectured the girl saying things like bullying is wrong, then rumbled on it. But instead he went to smash her phone. He did things the most direct way he saw possible in order to get his point across fairly clear. Maybe the girl didn't understand why he did what he did, and maybe people judge him without understanding his motive. But he still did what he thought was right. Whether they understood his ways or not was up to them. Similar to how that girl jumped off the roof. Izaya never told her to jump, but he never specifically said she shouldn't. He talked about her emotional condition and made her realize that she was scared, but left the ultimate decision to her, which was right in his eyes. Words can't always get your point across, especially in dark situations, but feelings have a stronger impact. They stimulate people and influence them to do or not certain things. Izaya is aware of it, and he excels at it. He has the capability to evoke every single emotion out from someone in a single conversation. It is hard to find any reason for why he acts the way he does. The anime doesn't give us a reason to sustain his actions, which is why they are being deducted in two totally different ways by the people who understand his motives and the one who don't. This view is shown with Saki and Kida. Saki trusts Izaya and looks up to him as an admirable person, to the point that she is mesmerized by him. Despite his twisted and manipulative ways, he was like a guardian to Saki and took care of her before she left with Kida. He does have a form of attachment towards her, as he appears to be genuinely sad when she leaves him and runs off with Kida, since she's one of the few characters that actually likes Izaya. On the other hand, Kida hates Izaya and sees the bad in everything he does. He can't figure out why he ever trusted Izaya, and he's having even more trouble realizing why the Saki likes Izaya.
あのイザヤってやつが俺を好きになれとでも言ったのかよ。
最初だけね。イザヤさんは人の恋愛には口出さないもん。
But no matter how twisted his persona may seem, he has people that he cares deeply for. And besides his younger twin sisters, there's Shinra, and Celti, and Saki, and even Namie. But I'll keep his relationship with Namie for another time. When it comes down to it, Izaya is neither a hero nor a villain. I tend to believe that he'll be forever in between. Maybe he's seen the way he wants to be seen, or maybe he doesn't know or want to act differently than he believes is right. His character still remains shrouded in mystery, but ultimately his actions were more helpful than harmful.